Welcome back from the break. Let's go on board the FAR 53 yacht, Georgia. We've got 260 nautical miles to the corner of Tasman Isle before we hit Storm Bay, and then of course up the fickle Derwent River. 260 nautical miles to go is a long way to go. But the crew are reasonably well rested after an easy night last night, light winds. So now it's just a matter of turning our game heads back on again, sailing the boat as hard and as fast as we can, and see where we end up. Willow, navigator and tactician, how's it going down here in the dungeon?
Going fairly quietly. Not much we can do about it at the moment except watch and wait and see what happens.
How are we placed in comparison to the rest of the fleet at this point?
Well, that's a bit hard to tell. Since we haven't got the internet connection here, we can't really have a look.
I thought we did have.
Not anymore.
Ah.
No, we're out of range, I'm afraid.
Oh, righto. Oh, well, that stuff's that question there. So, well-fed and well-watered crews seem to be going okay at this point.
Yeah, it's been a pretty easy ride so far. I don't think we've had any seasickness that I've been aware of. Don't know if you know anything about that I don't, but I don't think we have.
Oh, we've had one crew member, but he's recovered fairly well.
Who was that?
Young Paul.
Ah, that's a surprise. There you go. He must have been a bit sneaky about it.
Not if you're on deck. Brett Avery, watch captain and sailmaker aboard Georgia. This is your first Sydney to Hobart. Has it lived up to expectations so far?
It's a little bit different to what the brochures say, but I've enjoyed it so far, yeah. Yeah, no, it's been good.
How do you think the crew work's been to this point?
I think on the main part, except when people have got a little bit tired, it's been excellent. We've peeled kites, no problems, peeled jibs, no problems, kept the boat going at all times. It's been great.
Now, of course, in a race like this, the crew do get tired. The rest is very important, particularly to helmsmen such as yourself. What other aspect in this race do you think is vitally important to the well-being of the crew?
It's keeping the guys fed and getting water into them, mainly. Like, as soon as they start dehydrating, they start losing concentration, so that's a pretty important factor.
Right, now we're expecting some fairly strong winds from the north this afternoon. It should be a little bit of fun belting downhill at around about 20 knots.
Absolutely. I just can't wait for it. It's been pretty light for probably the last 12, 14 hours, and just want the breeze to pick up a bit so we can start having some more fun.
Surfing down waves as the northerly built, the concentration on the crew's bases says it all. With the boat doing a constant 18 knots, it was a wild sleigh ride south. It was jam some food down to keep up the huge amount of energy required to sail the boat. With just 3 hours in 9 for the crew to be able to get some sleep above the noise of sailing in this speed, eyes were getting heavy. But the enthusiasm for adrenaline and speed kept us on the edge. And this is where you need to know that your crewmates are going to be there and they're going to do the right thing at the right time. Our first sight of land was the southeast coast of Tasmania, and even as we entered Storm Bay, heading towards the closing stages of this race, the crew were working hard as ever, peeling sails to get the maximum out of the boat. We sailed past the Iron Pot, which marks the entrance to the fickle Derwent River. It is this last 11 miles in which this race can be won or lost. And here, more than anywhere over the course of this 630 miles, it all depends on the wind gods. Georgia was smiled upon with a favourable wind as a small flotilla of boats followed us up the river. As we entered the marina in Hobart following the completion of Georgia's Rolex Sydney to Hobart yacht race, we received a rousing reception from locals and friends alike. Graham Ainley, co-owner of the yacht Georgia, about 16th over the line. What's the feeling?
Just really pleased to be here so quick this year. New boat for us this year, coming second over the overall handicap last year, and now such a fast race in this new boat for us. Fantastic.
Now the crew work was pretty good. Me being part of the crew, of course, was absolutely executed beautifully.
You being part of the crew, Caveman, kept them all entertained for the whole of the race. No boredom at all. That was really good. But our crew work this year, I would suggest, has been the best we've had for a number of years indeed. Certainly a great crew this year. Fantastic. And a crew that's got a lot of interesting people in it. Johnny Curtin from Ireland, and Paul Tingle from New Zealand, and yourself, Caveman, from the cave.
Matt Allen of Itchy Barn fame, how was the race down south?
Oh, it was certainly one of the nicest races I've ever had to Hobart. It was warm, pretty quick, only a couple of parking lots along the way, a couple of issues for us with a broken rudder and a broken traveller, but apart from that, wonderful ride to Hobart.
Now, a broken rudder and a broken traveller certainly would have put you back in the placings.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up probably 5th on overall, 3rd across the line, and yeah, we lost a few hours with all those sort of issues. Luckily the boat's got 2 rudders, so we could still sail off 1 rudder, but we had to keep the windward rudder in the water, which meant we couldn't really power the boat up or tip it over at all, which has had its own set of challenges.
Now, losing a couple of hours is all it really takes to not be on the podium in this race.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we'll end up on elapsed time, missing out on corrected time by about 2.5 hours or so. So it was really make or break, and it was, I think, really between us and Rosebud to win the race. You know, Hutzbar was probably the other boat that had a real chance, but I think she didn't have enough pressure maybe last night to do the job.
Now, of course, as Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, the host club of this race, it would have been a lot of hard work getting this together every year, year after year, of course.
Oh, look, it's a huge event, and but we've been doing it, for 63 years now, and you learn quite a few things along the way, and we try and have a blueprint that we just roll out every year and make some small modifications, and but it's a huge logistical exercise, but it's also a lot of fun doing it because it is such a terrific yacht race.
Well, you wouldn't have taken on the role of Commodore if you didn't enjoy it.
Oh no, it's you're meeting up with all your friends in Hobart, you're talking about the things that you love about yachting, and it's a fascinating race, win, lose or draw. It is an amazing yacht race to Hobart.
One of the best and most renowned ocean races in the world.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think the media coverage of this race almost exceeds any other yacht race anywhere in the world. It is amazing, and it has an enormous standing right throughout the world. And the media interest and the public interest of the race continues to grow each and every year. So it's hopefully that curve, continues on into the future.
Well, that's it for the 2007 Rolex Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race. We hope you'd have enjoyed the coverage from the Yacht Georgia. It has been a sensational sleigh ride down here. We were topping out at 24.3 knots. Absolutely sensational ride down south. Congratulations to the winner, the American yacht Rosebud, followed by Ragamuffin, Quantum, and of course the Victorian yacht Chutzpah. We have not ever had a better welcome down here in Hobart. We had the lay girls, they showed up with a lay, each crew member got a lay, and we got a drink. It was absolutely sensational. Well, that's it for another year from the Rolex Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race. We hope you enjoyed catching up with our local fishermen down there in Chile. And remember, if your mates didn't get to see the show, send them to onthewater.com.au where they can watch it from there. And also, click on the competitions button. You can win an I'm on the Water stubby holder, a Mako hat, the Slam shirt with the On the Water logo, and of course, the Mako sunnies. So remember, whether you're sailing down the east coast of Australia or you're just catching up with a local crab fisherman in southern Chile, remember, a bad day in the water is better than a good day at work. See you next week.